Let's talk about the topic that a lot of people would ideally want. Like everybody would want the abundant
Right.
in all areas of life, but the top on the list is
Right.
the abundance of money.
Right.
Right. So let's say somebody says that I want to make XYZ amount. Right. Like in Jim Carrey's case, it was $10 million. Right. So let's say whatever that number that people have in their mind right now, then what are the tools and the resources that are out there for them to sort of tap into,
Right.
that they can do.
Right. Before I talk about this part, one of the most searched Google term on YouTube about manifestation is how do I get my ex back?
Oh.
That's a very popular
really?
search query. One of my YouTube guy was saying me, sir, make something on that topic. It's very, very hot topic out there.
How do I manifest my ex
Ex back.
in my life?
So that's
I didn't know that.
that's a good hook to get people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, abundance, very important. So there are many steps for it, right? First step is, most people, when you talk to them that what is your goal in terms of money, they'll have no goals, right? Nobody has even a figure in the mind very clear that what is that I want to earn in next 5 years time, 10 years time. And most people would say, I'm doing a job right now, I'll go at 10% hike, 20% hike, and that's how I reach in a way, right? So first, creating a goal, an outcome is the first step, what you rightly mentioned, right? Without a goal, it's like you have not sown the seed. And let's take the analogy of the seed and the plant. If you have not sown the seed and you're waiting for something to happen, nothing would happen because seed is not sown. I want a mango tree. It takes 5 years time, but I have to sow the seed first, right? If I've not sown the seed, nothing's going to happen. So first step is, have you got a very clear-cut goal in mind?
So that is what you call sowing the seed.
Sowing the seed, the first step. It always starts with a very clear-cut outcome. Because look, the nature, the way we look at life right now, if you look at the nature, everything is very precise. The entire nature is a very fine rhythm. Nothing is just randomly happening. Though we may not know the reason behind it, but everything, look at the sun coming up, the trees growing, the life cycle, the days everything has a very precise rhythm to it. The way we have a biological clock as well, right? Circadian rhythm. So until and unless you do not follow a very precise system, randomly nothing is going to happen. The first step is setting a clear-cut goal, which possibly in this, you talk about abundance, having a money outcome for yourself, right? That I want to have X amount of money in next 5 years time. First step. And most people, the mistake they do is, they say, I want more money. Okay, take 100 rupees more in your salary. But that's not what you want. You want more money. How much? Is the outcome clear? Because now we know that brain works differently when it knows the outcome. There's a very famous book, and I'm just diverting from the topic a bit. There's a very famous book called as the Psycho-Cybernetics, right?
I've heard a lot about it.
And this book was written by a surgeon, a cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Max Maltz. And entire self-help industry, which we have seen last 50 years, kind of is based on this book, And he talked about that how our brain in a way functions, right? So we all have a very strong self-image in our mind, right? About what can we do, what we can't do, what is possible, what is not possible. Our worth, self-worth, self-esteem, right? And whatever goals we set, these are in directly sync with the self-worth, self-image. So if the goal you're setting right now is not in sync with the self-image, guess what? There's no chances that your brain will ever work to even help you find ideas to achieve the goal, right? So I think coming back here, first step is to create the outcome very clear, right? That's the first step. And when you have nothing, when you have the money and then you're saying, okay, I want to make more money, easier because you already make the money. But you have nothing, you make an outcome, first step. Now, when you make the outcome, the biggest mistake people have is, with a goal, when they see the goal, most people around you, and if you're staying in that company, they would say, oh, yeah, too big a dream. Come on, get more on practical terms, right? This is too big an idea.
Yeah.
And anybody you find on the top who has gone through rags to riches story, right? When they had a goal, nobody believed in their goal, right?
Yeah.
But eventually we know they end up reaching to that goal, all the great legends as well. So when you have the goal, what are your belief system about this goal? Is it possible or you think it's not possible? Moment you believe that this goal is possible, now comes the second step. When you believe something that it is possible, your brain starts working differently. And that's what the basis of what we call as placebo effect. Right? The entire talk about placebo, where a doctor gives you a medicine, it's not a medicine, it's just a saline water, and your body goes through healing.
Because you started believing that it's
Because you started believing that.
because putting this in will heal you.
Putting this, if I'm having this medicine,
Yeah,
and it's not a medicine at well.
No.
Like, if it's a medicine, I understand. If it's not a medicine, also. So the brain has inbuilt capacity. Now, there's a researcher from Stanford, Dr. Alia Crum, and I urge everyone to go and find a TED talk on YouTube about this talk she gave on TED, in which they did an experiment. They went to a hotel and they interviewed the hotel staff, and 30, 40 of them, two groups they divided. One group they asked that how much activity you do throughout the day. And they say, we clean the rooms, we clean the floor, and all of that. And they told them, first group, that listen, the amount of activity you do every day is exactly the amount of activity prescribed by general doctors to be healthy. And second group, they said nothing. It's a control group. Guess what? They come after months back and they see those group for whom this idea was given that the amount of activity you do is enough to be healthy, they end up losing weight. Nobody went to a gym, no dieting, nothing at all they did. Only the idea was planted in the mind and they end up losing weight.
Wow.
And the research...
Because they started genuinely believing
it, that I'm doing right
health.
now is good for my health, and the mind, the brain started shifting. It started, body started becoming more healthier. So now we know with science that belief has a major role to play. So coming back to the point, when you have a goal, what is your belief system about it? Is it possible or not possible? So merely having a goal and not believing it, listen, you have a goal, but you have not involved the brain in the picture, or the mind is not in the picture. It's just a fancy idea. You're not believing it. The game changes when the belief comes in picture, when what we call as faith comes in picture.
And how do you do that?
We'll come to it. This is the goal. I have a faith. Now this is going to happen. Now how do you come to the faith aspect? Very important. Okay. Should we do a quick demo? So people who are watching this, they'll have more experiential understanding, right? Yeah. So all of those who are watching, and you also, Bijay, imagine a lemon on your hand right now. A big yellow juicy lemon, right? And see this lemon, the texture, feel the weight of this lemon, right? Imagine you have a knife in your right hand and take the knife and cut this lemon into two pieces, right? And take the half piece of lemon, smell the lemon, right? And imagine you are squeezing the lemon in your mouth. You're having the juice of the lemon in your mouth right now. Squeeze it tightly, right? Chew it completely, right? You've got a saliva in your mouth.
Yeah, I do.
Right? Your body has released digestive juices to digest the lemon juice. Where is the lemon? Lemon is not physically present. It's in the mind. So the brain has a unique system, which is the brain cannot understand the difference between reality and imagination. What you consider as imagination for the brain is also a reality if it's seen clearly in the mind. And before the podcast, we're talking about this, how people end up gaining more muscle strength just by imagination. How do you have more belief? That's where, I love this guy, Michael Phelps, US swimmer, old swimming champion. 32 gold medal in Olympics. Only guy in the history of human race. If you listen to his talk with his coach on YouTube, there's a good video by him. From age 14, he imagined himself, visualized himself winning all the matches. He used to complete the race in his mind hundreds of times. He said, every gold medal which I won in the match, it happened second. First, it happened in the mind. Visualization is a tool through which you develop faith. Because when you visualize, now we know with neuroscience, when you visualize, your brain can make plastic changes, which means you can form new circuits just by the act of imagination, not even doing that act.
Wow.
And then we talked about the piano study from Harvard and the muscle study. How do you develop faith? When you're imagining your goal, achieving the goal, living that reality. So the brain suddenly starts feeling that, okay, this has happened for me. And that's where I start developing more conviction and faith in the case of lemon. Now imagine this. Move the lemon right now and put an imaginary fear here. What if I fail? Now, the fear also has the same impact over you. You will feel nervous. You go into a state of negativity or anxiety just by a thought. So that's the ability of the brain. It can make you feel very positive, very negative. So having the goal and then attaching a faith to it is the real process. Obviously, the tools goes deeper, but so for abundance mindset or the goal of abundance, having a goal, and when you bring the faith, that's where the game changes. What happens now? Now, in the brain, we have a system called as reticular activation system, RAS,
RAS,
right?
yeah.
The work of RAS is simple. So, this example, and a lot of people who have, they would have this maybe a similarity in their life as well as example. You decide to buy a car, a red color, Honda XUV something, right? Mahindra XUV. And now you go outside, you see the car everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? You see the poster of the car, you see in the mall parking.
Yeah.
Now, the car was there before as well.
Yeah.
Why you are now noticing the car? Because this RAS is a bundle of neurons at the back of the brain. The job is to filter out data from the environment, right? So, any given point of time, our brain is processing tremendous amount of data, more than, they say, 2 million or 4 million data. But not everything is coming in your conscious mind. Only a few data, maybe say 1% of it is coming in your conscious mind. Now, what you get in the conscious mind is what you act on. So, the moment you believe something, now the mind starts generating or bringing your awareness to those ideas, which can help you get to the maybe the idea of maybe building that money through a business, through a job, through something. So, when Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, he was a poor chap, so poor that girlfriend left him, nothing to feed. He had a dog, loved him a lot. One day he decided that I can't feed the dog as well, so let me sell him. And he went to a liquor shop. There's a guy who bought him as well. And this guy had no job. And he sat there thinking that I want to live a great life. What do I do? And he saw a poster of a boxing match, which was put there, free entry. He went inside the boxing match. And being there, he got an idea that what if I can make a movie of a boxing match? And he wrote the entire script of Rocky sitting there on a waste paper. Now he takes the script, goes to many producers. They all said, what a crap movie. Nobody will watch this, right? All denied. Finally, one guy said, I will produce and direct this movie, right? But he said, listen, but the terms are different. If we make loss, you will bear majority of the loss. And if we make profit, it will be equally divided. He said, okay, go ahead, good. And he had nothing to eat at that point of time, like such a low point in his career. Yeah. And then he says something. He says, listen, okay, we are agreeing on the deal, but I will be the lead actor. And the guy says, are you crazy? You can't even speak properly because Sylvester Stallone had a paralysis on the left or right cheek. So his voice is slightly in a different way, right? He says, are you crazy? He said, no, so then I'm not giving the script. I'm not doing the movie then. He walked out. After a month, this producer calls him back. Okay, come back. Let's do this. But the terms change. Now, the entire loss, if the movie makes a loss, it goes to Sylvester Stallone. And that's how the first version of Rocky came in, Rocky 1. And now we know what happened with Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So how does that idea of the picture came in? Because he was having an intention that I want to do something to become great. And the brain was constantly searching for ideas. And here was the idea which the brain brought in your awareness. So that's how when you have a goal, your mind will generate an idea. Maybe to call a friend, maybe to write a book. X number of things can happen, right? And that's how you reach the goal. It's not going to happen that you imagine an abundant goal and tomorrow you get up and Lord Ganesha is standing with the money in his hand. That's a foolish idea. Yeah. You will get ideas to execute, work on for this to be achieved. That's possibly the process how it works out.